Chief Richard Tornelli of the Reading Police Department. And today we are here to announce that the 7th Berks County Investigative Grand Jury has issued a presentment charging Henry Madera, Julian Evans, and Anthony Barea. They have been charged with third-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder of the third degree, aggravated assault, 4 counts for 4 victims, conspiracy to commit aggravated assault, firearms not to be carried without a license, perjury, false swearing, recklessly endangering another person. I have 2 of my assistant district attorneys here who will be prosecuting this case, Assistant District Attorney Chuck Prutzman and Raymond Baker. Let me briefly peruse the facts of this case. I will not get into the minute details. We will provide you with the affidavit of probable cause that was filed along with the charges today. But this incident occurred, as we all know, on March 14th, 2022. Reading Police received a call at approximately 7:45 that a shooting had just occurred at the playground at the 1300 block of Meade Street in the city. Officers were advised at that time that at least 1 person had been shot. Officers arrived on scene. They found a victim who was deceased on the baseball field. The deceased victim was identified as Amir Bibbs. Amir was only 18 years of age. Amir Bibbs died of a single gunshot wound to the chest. A female victim, age 16, was located with multiple gunshot wounds to her torso. She was located near the third base line fence of the baseball field at this park. Officers were also advised that there was a third victim. He was found inside of a nearby residence at 1355 Meade Street. And a 4th victim appeared at the hospital. He had received a gunshot wound in the buttocks. One of the interesting parts of this case is the ballistics evidence that we uncovered. It also shows the gravity of the behaviors that occurred this evening on March 14th. The officers did initially recover a black gun magazine outside of 1355 Meade Street. That is the area where Marcus Landis ran for help. He was one of the victims. The next morning, a .40 caliber handgun was recovered in the grass outside that same home. This handgun actually had been registered to an individual named Deshaun Page. Deshaun Page was, at the time of this incident, incarcerated at the Montgomery County Correctional Facility. Officers also observed numerous 9mm shell casings. There were no .40 caliber shell casings in or around the park. On the following day, March 15th, the investigators recovered 43 discharged 9mm shell casings from the area of the shootings. Those shell casings were all microscopically compared, and we determined that 3 guns were involved in this incident. And those 3 guns were responsible for those 43 shell casings. 14 of the shell casings came from, I'll call it gun number 1. 14 shell casings were from gun number 2, and 15 shell casings were from gun number 3. They were the three areas of shell casings were all located in a distinct area of the same side of the park, meaning the 3 shooters were in essence all together at this park. Now, we had numerous individuals that came forward and testified during our investigation. This incident began as a fist fight. It began that way. It was to be a fist fight. However, someone introduced firearms to this fist fight. During this, or just preceding this fist fight, an individual that was involved in the fist fight came, and he was accompanied in a red Nissan sedan. That is a sedan that is known to be operated by Anthony Berea. He came with his cohorts. They were identified as Anthony Berea, Julian Evans, and Henry Madera Jr. They exited this Nissan, this red Nissan, and they came through the tree line to the rear of the basketball court. After the brief fist fight, and the fist fight had, in essence, concluded, there were some words that were exchanged between the two sides. Someone near the pavilion pulled out a handgun, which was never fired. In response, these three of these individuals on the other side of the park, where all the casings were found, pulled out handguns and began wildly shooting towards the crowd. In that crowd was the victims. One victim, Amir Bibbs, who lost his life. The other victims, one victim suffered some very serious wounds, and 2 of the victims suffered what I would conclude were minor wounds. A lot of this fight was caught on video. And this video was located in a cell phone. The cell phone was downloaded, and that video has proved to be a key piece of evidence in this case. There are a number of individuals that were seen in the video. One of those individuals was the individual who has been identified as a shooter, Anthony Berea. Another male is in the video. He was wearing a distinctive clothing, pants with a white stripe down the side and colored sneakers. This individual was identified as another one of the shooters, Julian Evans. The second male with Berea, who was wearing an all-black outfit with a bright white sneakers. This individual was identified as Henry Madera Jr., also one of the shooters. During a view of the video, Berea makes a sudden turn to run away, then turns back toward the group while holding a handgun, and Berea fires several shots at the group. Julian Evans is seen in the video pulling a gun from a fanny pack that is strapped across his chest, and also another, and runs in the same, then ran in the same direction as Berea. We also obtained other video in this case, some video from Pizza Time. Julian Evans was employed at Pizza Time and told us that he was at work. Well, in the investigation revealed that he had clocked out at 5:53 p.m., approximately 2 hours before the shooting. Julian Evans is seen in the video from his employment wearing the same clothing that he was wearing in the video that was taken at the park at the time of this incident. All of these shooters, Berea, Evans, Henry Madera Jr. are all under the age of 21. They're all minors. When I use the word minor, they are all ineligible to possess a firearm. They were it was illegal for them to possess a firearm, and they did not have a license to carry a firearm. Various witnesses confirmed that they took this video, that they were asked to take a video of this fight, and they have a video of this shooting. A number of other individuals have testified, and I'm not going to continue, as I will be providing you with documentation of the more of the particulars of this investigation. I think that some of what else I want to point out about some of these charges is that the three defendants who have been named, who numerous witnesses have identified as being at the park and being involved in the shooting, these three individuals testified in front of the grand jury. Despite the fact that we have a video of this incident at the time of the shooting, all three individuals claimed that they were nowhere near this park at the time that this incident took place. Needless to say, the three shooters have all been charged with perjury. We have also charged an individual by the name of Heather Lease. Heather Lease will be charged with obstruction administration of law, and she will be charged because she told her daughter, who was subpoenaed to testify, to not come and honor her subpoena. And she would, in essence, told her daughter not to testify and not to honor the subpoena. She will be charged as a result. These three shooters shot recklessly, 43 casings. 3 shooters, 4 victims. My message to the victims and the victims' families that is our hope that today's arrests will be the first step in bringing some closure to this nightmare for all of you. We look forward to the prosecution of this case, and we look forward to holding the defendants accountable for their horrific actions on March 14th, 2022. The defendants' actions speak for themselves. They fired 43 times into this crowd. I don't know if there's an explanation other than young and dumb, but they will be held accountable and will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. They're all also charged with perjury. They have no respect for the law. They literally lied to the grand jury despite the fact that we have video of this incident. Parents, I hope that we are sending a message today that we will also hold you accountable, as we have done with Heather Lease. She will be charged. She told her daughter to not honor a subpoena, to not come to court. We will hold parents responsible. The community, I can only hope that this community can heal from this tragedy. Whenever a young life is lost to senseless acts of violence, it hurts. This is an unprecedented, senseless act of violence. And the fact that we can show that 43 times their gun was fired just has to send chills to our community that these acts of violence took place here. And we will not tolerate this type of violence in our community, and we intend to hold all of these defendants accountable And it is my hope that the Governor Mifflin community will survive this tragedy and that the healing process can now begin. But we look forward to the prosecution of these individuals, and it is our goal that we will hold these individuals accountable for all these charges and that they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Thank you. Any questions?
Do you have pictures of any of them?
That's a great question. I do not.
Can we find them?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
They have all three are in custody. They were picked up today. While I'm not aware of the specific bail amounts, they were arraigned, and I have been told that bails have been set for two of those individuals, and they were very high. Now, I didn't tell you yet, Henry Madera Jr. was arrested this morning in Florida. He apparently had moved to Florida just recently. But he was apprehended this morning in Florida. He will be extradited back to Berks County to answer to these charges. And my apologies, I do not have those pictures, but we may be able to get you those. That's a great question.
Do you have the exact spellings of their names?
Yes, it will provide you with
Okay.
the affidavit of probable cause. It will provide that to you.
Three 9mm guns were used.
Yes.
Found a .40 caliber gun.
It had not been.
But no discharges.
It had not been discharged. Correct.
That weapon belonged to a victim.
We believe. We do not know specifically at this time. We do not know. We know that there was a .40 caliber weapon there. We have not determined the specific ownership of that gun.
Did that gun come back to somebody already in prison?
Yes. Yeah, that's the gun that came back to the individual that was in the Montgomery County Correctional Facility.
The prisoner, the one that's incarcerated,
Yes.
in relationship to any of the victims that were involved?
I'm not aware.
Okay. So we're not sure how the gun got into that possession.
That's at this point, that's a fair statement. And as you know, in any investigation, it's an ongoing investigation. We are hoping to answer some more questions, and we are hoping that other individuals who may have been at this scene, that they now come forward. Since we have all three gunmen who were involved in this incident in custody, we hope that other individuals who were there come forward and provide additional information to the Reading Police and to my office.
And from what I remember being there, the park setting is close to the street, but the three individuals the shooters came from the opposite end, through the woods.
Yes.
It wasn't an ambush. They knew they were going to fight.
No, it wasn't an ambush. They watched the fight, and then a further dispute kind of took place where, for some reason, they all of a sudden pulled their weapons and fired recklessly.
And then we don't know where these 9mm guns came from, correct?
That is correct. That is correct. However, I believe we've recovered one of those guns, and one of those guns was sold by Mr. Madera to another juvenile. That gun has been recovered.
There are two that are still out there.
Yeah, that is correct.
What was the original fight over, do you know?
I don't.
Also,
It was a planned fist fight.
On social media?
I think that there was some social media involved, but I'm not certain.
and the group that came in to fight was not even from the local area, correct?
Yes, they
From
were
what I
all
recall,
from the local area.
They were all from the local
Yeah,
area.
they're all from the local area.
Were they students at a high school
Yes.
at the time of the shooting?
Well, some of them. and some of them were former students.
At the same high school, Governor Mifflin?
Well, some were from Governor Mifflin. There was an individual involved that was from Wilson. I believe that there were some individuals there from the city of Reading. So it was a combination of individuals that were involved. And the victim, Amir Bibbs, was a student at Governor Mifflin High School at the time of this incident. So, yes, I mean, this did impact the Governor Mifflin community immensely.
The victims were all from Governor Mifflin, correct?
Yeah, let me just, I think that at some point, all the victims were, at some point, they were all students. Is that correct? At Governor Mifflin? We're not 100% certain of that. I can tell you that Amir Bibbs was a student at Governor Mifflin. I think that at some point, some of the other victims were students at Governor Mifflin. Not certain about all four. My apologies on that.
So to sum this up, is it safe to say that there were two separate groups? One group came in that had 3 guns. The other group was there.
Well, let me explain. There's the group that came in with 3 guns also brought with them one of the individuals who was involved in the fight, and the planned fight. And then the planned fight ended, and then for some reason, which may remain unanswered at this point, all of a sudden, the 3 individuals who were with one of the individuals who was involved in the fight began firing their weapons. I think, the saying that I hate to use, but they brought guns to a fist fight. Sad that this occurred. Anything else?
Was Amir Bibbs one of the people in the physical fist fight, or was he just a bystander?
Just a bystander, as were in it all 4 of the victims. The 2 individuals involved in the fight were not hit by the gunfire. The 4 victims were bystanders. This was a large group of young, I used the word teenagers. It was a large group of teenagers that were there. And we expect that hopefully more of these teenagers will come forward with information about this incident. But we are very pleased today with the apprehension of these 3 shooters. Anything else? And we do have a copy of the affidavits, which spells out in more minute detail the facts of this incident that I could sit here and read, but it would take a lot longer than I think is appropriate for a little short press conference. Thank you. Rich, do you have anything to say?
Just real briefly, we're happy to be here today to announce that these 3 individuals are in custody. They're going to be brought to justice for their responsibility in this tragedy. We need to acknowledge the fact that, as the district attorney said, this was a group of young individuals who were on a playground in our city that turned into a shooting range, essentially. 43 shots were fired. One young man, Amir Bibbs, was killed in this gunfight. 3 other individuals were shot, young individuals in our community. And these are things that we take seriously. There was a lot of time, a lot of work put into this investigation to get us to the point where we are today. We had hoped that the process would have gone much quicker, but as the district attorney mentioned, that there was a lot of roadblocks that were put in our way with folks who were refusing to testify or testify truthfully in this case. We will continue to work with the district attorney's office and our partners in federal, state, and local law enforcement to investigate these incidents and try to get in front of some of these incidents as we investigate gun trafficking here in the city, and the individuals that are bringing these guns to our community. But at the end of the day, we need the help of the community as well. We can't do this by ourselves. In law enforcement, we need folks in the community to provide us with information about where these guns are coming from, about individuals who are involved in these fights. Had we received word that this fight was taking place in the park before it turned to gunfire, this tragedy may have been averted. So we try to do what we can to get in front of these things. We have a great relationship with the district attorney's office, with the Berks County detectives. Sometimes I think that we all work for the same organization because we're in each other's offices so much. But that really is a testament to how seriously we take these crimes and how seriously we take these issues. And we're going to continue working, around the clock, every day of the week in order to try to prevent these tragedies, and when they do happen, to bring folks to justice. Because at the end of the day, a young man lost his life that it should have never occurred. And 3 other individuals were shot in this incident, and I don't even know the number of folks who were affected by this tragedy. So, as the district attorney said, we hope today starts to bring some closure to this incident for some folks, that they can be in healing. But, we all need to work together. We need to take action to stop these tragedies from occurring in our community.
Thank you. Thank you. And I, again, have to thank the Reading Police for their investigation and the apprehension of these 3 individuals today. It was a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.